Welcome to AvTims Skylane build video. You can download your free plans on avtims.com or feel free to order one of our pre-cut kits. So heat up your glue guns and let's get building. My dad Frank is going to build this Skylane. I was lucky enough to have a trip to Florida and just enough time to build it with him. So whether you cut out the kit yourself or you're using one of our pre-cut kits, make sure to lay out all the parts and that you have everything ready. You're also going to need your barbecue skewers, popsicle sticks, and rubber bands, just like usual. So let's get started with the fuselage. You're going to identify the B folds. Usually there's two little lines. You need to remove the strip of foam so that way you'll be able to fold it over nicely. Once you get that little sliver out, you should lay it down and it should look something like this. Well, I hope your glue gun's good and ready. Alright, so you don't want to put in too much glue or it'll be tail heavy. I start 1 inch in on the paper and put a nice little bead all the way down to 1 inch from the other end. Angle the side of the fuselage up and push straight down. Then start on the other side and do the same thing. You want to take your time here and make sure you have a nice square fuselage. They fly best when they're square. If it's not perfect, that's okay. This is foam board. Go ahead and do the same thing on the top. Hold it down. Only takes a few seconds to dry. Then you can move up to the faux windshield. Put a little bit of glue on the side with the paper. Fold it over, hold that down. You can put a little bit of glue on the paper tab on the other side. Make sure that you really line the fuselage up here. There you go. It should look nice and straight if you do it right. Now we're ready to seal up the bottom of the fuselage. Just go ahead and put a little bit of glue on your paper strip. And then go ahead and press down on it. You can even roll it back and forth on the table to help the curve a little bit. Oh, this is fun. We're going to make the engine mount. You're going to need to cut out your cardstock. You're going to use a pair of scissors, cut out the pieces. You're going to need an X-Acto knife to cut out the air scoop. This keeps everything cool. Now, right behind the black line, in between the black line and the air scoop, is where you're going to glue your block of foam. So go ahead and put some glue inside the two halves, smash them together. Let that dry. Put a good amount of hot glue on that area that I was just talking about on the cardstock. And then lay that square right in there. Okay, once that dries, you're going to go ahead and put a liberal amount of hot glue right along the leading edge of the foam and fold the cardstock back up and down on top. This will make a nice solid engine mount for you. Now we're going to glue it into the fuselage. You can use a lot of glue up on the nose. You don't have to worry about making it tail heavy. We need it all the weight up front that we can. Put glue along the sides of the foam and along the sides of the poster board and then lay it right in there. It should fit in just nice. God, I love the way that part looks. For the rear window area, we took the foam out. We found it wasn't needed. We just used cardstock, so make sure it fits. Then lay some bead on top of the foam on one side and on the other, and then just press it on down and hold it. On to the tail assembly, or empennage. There's a $5 word for you. Alright, I know, everybody hates the 45 cuts. You should be good at them by now. I know this isn't the first model you've built. Just keep the knife moving. If you get a little area where you slip up a little bit, just use some tape. I like to reinforce it with a hinge anyway. Once you're done with the elevator, you got to do the same thing for the rudder. Just go ahead and bend it over, break the foam, do your 45 cuts. Should look just like that. See, he's getting good at it. Nice looking 45 degree there. Okay, now you're ready to slide this into the fuselage. Should slide right in nicely. Once it's in the way you like it, go ahead and lay just a little strip of glue on either side, on the top and bottom. And this thing is solid. It really holds on there nicely. Wow, look at that thing. It's so cute. Okay, so we decided to print out these little AvTims icons for logo on the plans and also the Skylane. We thought it would look cute on there, and it came out absolutely adorable. Alright, now we're going to move on to the wings. The spars, you just go ahead and lay some glue in there, fold them over. That's easy. Put them off to the side. I know, more 45s. Everybody hates it. Just go ahead and do them all at the same time. Just get it over with. Do the tips and the wing roots the same. Remember, if you nick the paper on the other side, it's okay. You just reinforce this with tape anyway. so it's not a big deal. A tip we learned is if you trim out the foam on either side of the ailerons, they work a lot better. Yep, one more 45-degree bevel and you're all done with bevels. Well, you gotta do the other side anyway. Okay, so there's two ways to reinforce these hinges. One, you put a piece of tape on the backside. The other method is to go ahead and lay a little bit of hot glue, very little, along the seam, and then use a scrap piece of foam to smear it out as much as you can. And you kind of want to wiggle it around until it dries. If you do both of those, your hinges are going to last a long time on these planes. Okay, check it out, sauerkraut. We're almost ready to fold over the wing. So before we do that, we want to make sure to glue the spar down. Super easy if you have the pre-order kit. I pencil drew the line for you. If not, use the spar itself. Make one spar width back from the leading edge. Not too hard. Lay some glue in there. Press down on it. Voila. Okay, so I got excited and I started helping out. I don't have a lot of pictures because I was building. What are you going to do? Anyway, you want to curve the top half of the upper camber of the wing. You do that by removing the paper from the inside and rubbing it back and forth across the edge of a table. I'm sure you can figure this out. Once you've got it done, you go ahead and put a little bead across the back of the leading edge where the 45 was and go ahead and slowly roll over the upper camber. You also need to put glue on top of the spar. I forgot to mention that. I wait until the top of the spar is dry and then I lay in another bead on the trailing edge and then go ahead and press that down. If you try and do it all at once, it's just a little too much. So it's a 3-step process. I do a bead behind the leading edge, glue on top of the spar, and then the trailing edge. Little practice. You're going to do it 4 times since this wing is made of 4 sections. By the end, you'll be really good. Alright, now we're ready to assemble all 4 sections of the wing. We keep it easy. Just take a popsicle stick, put glue on half of it, slide it in there and press it up against the spar. Do the same thing for the front and back, so you have 2 popsicle sticks for each connection. Now take your glue gun and put lots of glue on the inside of both popsicle sticks. Slide it into the other part of the wing. Press down on your hand where the glue connection is and just lift up just enough to flex it until it won't flex anymore and let it dry. Now we're going to seal it up and make it pretty. Take your poster board and cut out the strips that we put in there for your gap seals. You might want to start by dry fitting them. You bend a little here, bend a little there. Go ahead and put some glue on it. Stick it on down. Do the top one first so that way when you put the top one on, you can roll it on top of the bottom one so the airflow won't peel it off. Once you get the bottom one on, just go ahead and put some glue across the top. I usually start in the trailing edge of the wing, work my way forward. Flip the wing over, seal it down. Then you go ahead and trim off the little ends in the back. Nice and clean wing. Make sure to do your wing tips first, that way you have more practice by the time you do your wing root. Don't cover up the servo lead hole. Make sure to leave that exposed when you wrap these seals around. Put a lot of hot glue in this seal. I mean, this is the main wing joint. It's going to have a little bit more stress. So you can even, before you put the seal on the top, go down the seam and squeeze as much hot glue down in there as you can. You want a nice strong connection for this part. Then go ahead and do the gap seal the same way. Start at the back, work your way forward, wrap it around the leading edge, tuck it underneath, seal it up, and you're good to go. At this point, you won't be able to resist the temptation to put it on the fuselage and look. Isn't that so darn cute? Oh my gosh. Okay, don't forget to put the popsicle sticks on top of the leading edge and trailing edge of the wing, or else your rubber bands are going to just rip a hole right through the middle of it. Now you can take your popsicle skewers and put your rubber band mounting pegs on your fuselage. Make sure to twist as you poke these through. You usually go through one side, pull it out, go through the other side, makes a nice clean poke. Make sure to use a lot of hot glue to secure these in there. Again, you're not after the center of gravity, so don't worry about making a tail heavy. Use a lot of glue to hold them in there and still. Now you can rubber band your wing on and stand back and admire your work. Next we want to put in the power pod. Dry fit it first, mark the location of the holes, go ahead and poke the holes in with a barbecue skewer, pull the skewer back out, fill the hole with glue, Go ahead and slide the skewer back in as far as you can and snip it off. Once you have your front pegs in, you need to put the back peg in, lay it along the side to make sure you have the location right, and go ahead and slide it in there. I like to cut a little circle out of poster board or cardstock and glue that to the fuselage. That also helps when you're pulling that mounting peg in and out. It makes it last a little longer. For your servos, I usually just glue them together and then trace the size of your servo onto your bottom of your fuselage, cut out the square, and slide them in the hole. Once you have your servos where you like them, just lift them up a little bit, put some hot glue under each end, and push them on down into the hot glue. Try and keep this super simple. The AvTims kit, we send control horns along with it. You can use those or make your own. We also include music wire for the push wires. You can just make Z-bends. The elevator goes straight back to the elevator. The rudder, you're going to actually make a hole in the fuselage, run it into the fuselage and back up out the top. And we show you there where you want to mount your rudder's control horn. For landing gear, you can either use a coat hanger and some wheels, or you can go ahead and order our wheel kit. We have that available on AvTims.com. Okay, aileron servos. A lot of people get nervous about this. It's not that hard. What you want to do is lay your servo up on top of the wing. Well, you actually want to clip off the little plastic ends first. If you hold your wing up to the sunlight, you'll be able to see the spar through it, so you get a good idea where it's at. Trace where you think you want to put your servo with a pencil. Then go ahead and take an X-Acto knife and start trimming out the bottom half of the wing. You don't want to go through the top camber, so just take your time, go slow, take a little more foam, try and fit it, take a little more. Now we're going to go ahead and run the servo lead up to the root of the wing. Use a little piece of music wire, just stick it in the end of the servo lead and just wiggle its way up there. You can use a little pair of needle nose pliers to grab it when it gets up there and pull it out. You're going to find it's a lot easier. It's not that daunting of a task at all. Okay, usually I get too excited at this point and I hot glue the servo in. Don't be me, wait till later. I installed the control horn for the aileron a little differently. I cut a slit and slide the plastic control horn in and then hot glue it there. You might need to notch the bottom side of the foam a little bit to make sure that the control horn's not hitting against it. And you do the same thing for the other side. Wow, look how fast he's moving. Oh my gosh, I guess he learned so much from the other side. Ah! Okay, now use Z-bends to attach the servos to the control horns. You'll be happy if you didn't hot glue your servos in. At this point, I like to hook up the receiver to make sure the servos are centered before I glue them in. Once you're happy with them, and you have everything set the way you like it, lay a nice solid bead of hot glue underneath the servo, squish it in, and then go ahead and push hot glue all around the sides of it. You want that thing nice and secure. Well, that's it. Dad, you built a great airplane. I helped a little. Anyway, feel free to order your kit from AvTims.com or download the free plans. Make sure to like us on Facebook, and we have a Facebook group now called I'm Building an RC Plane. So check that out. Have a great time.